What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, here on Industry Talk, and welcome to Primetime Pod, the hottest information resource outlet for all things entertainment, breaking news, celebrity interviews, and the hot topics of the day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms, our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, you name it, we're on it. Just Google us. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime.
Okay. And he got prime time vibe. Make sure you check it
Hell, why the fuck you think he missing? You say that. Now I'm not trying to get a little messy with you.
Time is money.
They go trap.
What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, coming at you all the way live. Today we have a special guest in the building. We're here on Industry Talk, Primetime Pod, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Miss LASHAE. Bella, how you doing, LASHAE?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it is my pleasure to have you in the room, in the building, sitting down, chopping it up. Because you have such a phenomenal story. We're going to get into that story here in just a little bit, but because my audience doesn't know who you are, and because of who we broadcasting to, want to find out why is Big G talking to LaShae Speller. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, shall we? Because
We
I know
should.
you're an author. I know you're an author. I know you're an entrepreneur. And so, who best could tell that story about that than you? Give us a little background about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, I am an author. I write urban fiction. I have been writing forever. It seems like ever since a teenager, it started from songs, poems, short stories, and now I'm writing novels. I have currently three published on Amazon and Kindle, and I am working on my fourth one now. Hopefully, it'll be ready by the end of the month. Fingers crossed. Also, like you said, I'm an
Okay, hold on a
entrepreneur.
second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Mhm.
So you can't just speed bump past shit with me. No. See, now I'm
Speed
the
bump.
wrong person. I've got three books. One's on Kindle. No, you got to tell me the name of these. How people gonna know how to get your book, Speller, if you don't let them know? Okay, I have three books, and bam, here go the first one. So give me the names of these books too. Now, come on, now talk to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's
Yeah,
start with our series.
talk to them like you're trying to sell them something.
Not sell, and I am trying to sell them something. So yes, let's
Okay,
go.
come on. Yeah.
um, but the first is a series which is called the Cocaine series. Um,
Okay.
it's it's basically two twin brothers. They were born to a teenage mother. I don't know if you remember our last conversation. I was telling you a lot of my books are relatable to just my life and things like that. But they were born to a teenage mother who passed away, and so the streets raised them. Because and once they became grown men, they also became rivals. And so the stories, it's a three-part book. We're actually finishing up Finally King now. We have Cocaine Kings of Sisters Nation. We have Return of the King. And then lastly, it'll be Finally King. And just check it out on Amazon. Look at the reviews. I promise you, it's a mind blower. I got a very high ranking on that series. Very proud of it. The next book goes to Beauty and the Beast. It's a little bit more on the erotic side. It's also urban fiction, but we had a lot of sex trafficking incidents going on when I wrote that book. Think about that book, and it kind of leads to two female friends. Basically, they I don't want to call them scammers, um, but they blackmail
So,
men.
it's your book. So what would you call it? What are they? Blackmailers?
They are blackmailers. Some will call them
Okay.
scammers, but it
Okay.
just depends on your point of view of the book. But
Okay.
they end up getting caught up. Karma hit them real quick. One get thrown into sex trafficking, and it's a whole series of drugs, violence, and she actually falls in love with one of her captorers. So um,
Mhm.
it goes down, but it's
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah, I get it. Well, let me ask you this: since you the three titles that I've heard so far, and then going into the erotica one, it seems like it's a whole lot of drug uses, cocaine, and this and that and the other. So I need to tap into where are you? Because you said it's encompassed within a bit of your reality and your and what you've gone through in your life, but where are you pulling, your energy from to create um, such masterpieces? When you sit down and you write and you're thinking about these things, what's your muse?
Lessons. So even though my books are about drugs and violence and prostitution and all of the things that we're living in every day, all of my stories have a lesson. I try to make sure that I am dropping gems per se, things that
Hmm.
I've learned myself from street life and just grown. I was a runaway, you know. Like I was telling you, I got pregnant at 12. I had a son at 13. And I kept my baby. I raised my baby, with support and family and things. But the streets had a hold on me. And while I was running away and in and out of juvie and in and out of group homes and training schools and this and that, I saw a lot of things. And it's so funny that my son, he calls me lame now, and I be trying to tell him, like, baby, your mama done been there, done that, seen this, and that's why now I'm chilling, because I survived it. I
All right,
survived
I
it.
I get it. I get it. So let me jump into it this way then, because you're cascading it as though you are a product of the streets. And you said the streets had a hold on you. Because that can happen in many different intangible ways.
Mhm.
So, what part of the streets? I mean, was it being caught up, strung out on drugs? Were you a pusher? Were you a prostitute? Were you pimp? Tell me, how were you caught up into the streets and how it had a hold on you? Let's get into that then.
So for sure, I was a pusher. I ran away from the group home when I was 15. I did
You
not want to
froze
go
up
back.
on me. There you
I
go.
think you froze
You
up
froze
on
up
me.
on me.
Okay,
Yeah,
is that better?
yeah, we're good. We're good. Go ahead, talk to me.
All right. So
Cause,
no, I
cause,
did
cause
not
you,
process.
can you hear me now?
Yep, I'm here. We ready?
Yeah, but hold up. Yeah, back up, back up. I didn't hear nothing because you keep breaking up. Get your internet right over there now. Get your
Okay.
internet right.
I know, right? Okay. Here we go. So yeah. No, I was not on
Stanley, we
drugs.
good?
I can hear you fine. So I'm not sure if that's my end. And now you're gone. Let me see.
Let's we'll hold on for just a moment. Having a little technical difficulties. Waiting for Miss Spiller. We'll get on here in just a moment. There we go. There we go. We'll catch back up. In the meantime, and in between time, we're about to get into a real in-depth conversation with Miss LaShae Speller and her life and her background. Um, very intriguing story. Very intriguing story. She's having a little difficulty with the internet. I think she was is buffering, so it's coming on back. Um,
I can see
but
you. Let
in the
me.
meantime, in the between time, remember Thursday night we're gonna be at Trios Lounge. We're going to be at Trio Lounge in Bar Meridian, Mississippi. We will be there tomorrow night. Jay Braswell, Tony G, Lorenzo is coming back. Jamani will be in the building. Drizzy Drake is supposed to be in the building. We're gonna have a good time tomorrow. We have a real good time. Um, Look like we got them
Now
back.
I can. Okay, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I've been hearing and seeing you the whole time, so I don't know if that was my internet or not. Now.
Yeah. Oh, you been hearing me? Oh man, I've been
I
talking. I was
have.
talking cash money shit about you too. You heard that? How about now? We good?
We are good.
Okay, okay, good stuff, good stuff. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it. Anyway,
Mm,
I was trying to keep it going, but now guess what? Lights, camera, action, baby. You on? So
like
talk to me.
camera
You say
action.
you
All
were a
right.
true product of the. You're a true product of the street. So get into what you were about to tell me. I want to hear this.
So I was telling you, no, I wasn't on drugs, thankfully. I wasn't prostituting, thankfully. But I was definitely with it and I was definitely around it. I was 15 when I ran away from the group home. I did not want to go back. I said there was nothing that was gonna make me go back. And my first night I ran away, I ended up running into an older guy. I'll never forget him. Sometimes God send people to you. And he sent this man to me, and in my mind, I'm thinking he about to try to, you know, he about to try to put me out here. And he didn't actually. Instead, he showed me how to. I'm not gonna say he showed me how to sell drugs. I don't. I'm very careful how I tell my story because I'm not the only one involved in my story. But let's just say he taught me how to hustle. And he never asked for anything. And so that's what was the first thing that got me, I want to say, gullible and naive to the street life because I thought everyone that I ran into would be like that person, and they weren't. So he taught me this skill, and I ended up doing that to get a room, and have somewhere to live. And I am thinking you are gone again. Let me see. Can you hear me? Are you there? Definitely your internet, not mine.
There we go. I'm back.
You're back. I don't even know when you left. I just looked and you were gone. So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know why this thing keeps jumping the way it's jumping, but I do believe we should be good to go. I was seeing myself on four different screens just now. But anyway,
Anyway,
you were saying that you were doing it to get rooms, right? Because you were homeless basically, right?
very homeless.
Okay,
But
yeah.
he was
Who is he again? Because I didn't hear the who was he.
someone that
Who's the
I met.
he? Someone
Someone
that
that
you met.
he saw me walking about 12 o'clock at night. And he asked me, he's like, what are you doing out here? And first I thought it was, going to snatch me up or something, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to be stereotype the guy because he looked a little rough. And I stopped and I just told him the truth that I had ran away and I wasn't going back. And he's like, well, you can't be out here. These streets ain't safe. And I ended up going back to his house. and he fed me. He had a wife,
Uh-huh.
and
Right.
she was really nice as well. And then I can just remember the first couple of days just thinking, they about to do something to me. They about to try to put me on a corner. They about to try to, just all the bad things went through my mind. Because in a group home, you're surrounded by a lot of different girls with a lot of different stories. I
Okay.
was in the streets because me and my mom didn't get along. I didn't want to be home, and I had a lot
And at
of.
what, now let's talk about this. At what age was this?
This was at 15. By
At
now, I've
15.
already
Okay.
had a child.
Right.
In and
Because you
out
had a
of.
child at 13. Because you had a
I
child
had
at
my son
13.
at 13, right?
Right.
Um, Juvie. I'm in and out of juvenile detention because I keep getting in trouble. I'm breaking in houses. I'm running away. My mom can't do anything with me. My dad is still on a life sentence, so it's just my mom and my
Okay.
grandma. And,
And
you know,
what was Pop serving a life sentence for?
for murder. My dad is actually just newly released after 30 years. He got locked up
Oh,
under the old law. So
uh-huh.
he's been home for 2 years now. He's also
Okay.
a writer.
So how old were you when he went in?
5.
And so at 5 years old, you're registering. You know when dad is missing out of the home, right?
At
How did
5
that
years
impact
old,
you?
I'm sitting in the den eating a bowl of cereal. My dad's mug shot pops on the TV.
Hmm.
I'm saying that he had been shot and arrested. And, my grandma tried to pull me out, but by then I've already heard it. I've
Right.
already heard what the lady just said. And
Okay.
I went through my dad's trial with him. I actually had to testify for him because he was on death row. And so
Hmm.
they were, I had to make some decisions real young pertaining to my father. But luckily, they vacated the death row and they just gave him a natural life sentence. And then again, luckily, he was under the old law. So these last couple of years, just worked hard, real hard to come home, and he finally did. And so now we're all adjusting to that.
Okay. So how did that? Because we're still gonna jump into the meat and potatoes of the story, but as a child, 5 years old, seeing that, um, how did that impact you mentally? As you had to witness that, you saw it. I can understand why your grandmother's trying to pull you out of the room because you really shouldn't be presented with that in that fashion. If someone's going to tell you, it should be a family member that, hey, this is what happened. But you saw it. So how did that impact you, knowing that you was bad as a little girl, obviously?
So, you know how Black families try to protect their children, and unfortunately, they thought lying to me um, was a better option at the time. My grandma told me, "Oh no, he's locked up for shooting a dog." And so for
Okay.
a long time, actually up until they were talking, they had to, tell me I had to go to court because they were trying to kill him, before they told me the truth, which was he made a mistake and, shot someone else, shot a person and killed them. But it affected me the worst because
Wait
I
a
didn't
minute. Hold up.
have
Hold up.
a
Hold up.
relationship with.
Hold up. Hold up. Let's say. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You say it was an accident. He shot somebody intentionally. Was it manslaughter? Oh, okay.
No, it was
Let's get into that part.
intentional.
Huh?
My dad
Huh?
was young and he was a gang member. So
Okay.
he made those choices back then. They robbed a place and
Uh-huh.
the owner shot him and he shot back and the owner died.
Okay.
But
So it was a B&E gone wrong, and then he shot
mhm.
back in self defense.
Well, the law doesn't look at it self-defense when you shouldn't have been up in there anyway, but
True, but I'm saying, I mean, in the streets, I'm talking about he's looking at, okay, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna shoot this motherfucker here. He
right
was in self defense at that moment.
in that moment,
No,
right,
we understand the context of what it is, but yes, you're not supposed to be breaking into nobody's shit. Proper, I got that, but I'm
right,
talking about, hey, we could have settled it and you call the cops, whatever. But you shot at me, I'm returning fire.
right. He actually shot him. He
Okay,
shot him in the shoulder, so he did get
okay,
hit.
uh
And
huh.
that was also what I heard on the news. But my dad, and even though I was young, like my dad was like, I was already a daddy's girl. So him, and he
Mhm.
was very in my life. Like I clearly remember many, many memories with my dad before he got locked up. And when he did get locked up, my entire life changed.
Okay.
I mean, just
So
some
let's
real
so let's
realizations happened to me.
uh-huh.
And I'll say this first before I say, me and my mother today have a wonderful, healthy mother daughter best friend relationship. It
Uh-huh.
did not happen until recently, within the last 10 years. Um, but the realization when my dad left that I was on my own hit, my mom just didn't take to me. Um, I guess like a mother should have. I don't know, whatever her reasons were. I can't speak for that, but she just didn't take to me like a parent. So when my dad left, man, I felt that. Like I
Right.
did all that parental love, all that, I felt that being gone. And so that kind of that mixed with the stuff I was going through at home, just not nothing I could do was, good enough, and just being a black sheep of the family. I started looking for love.
At what age did it really turn? Because you got pregnant and you had the kid at 13. And
Mhm.
however anybody might want to view it, let's get into that right quick. Um um how did that happen? Were you just promiscuous? Were you raped? What went on there?
So I've had situations, and I don't mean to seem like I don't want to express. It's just like I said, my story isn't always my story to tell, so I'm always careful on how I tell it. By
Okay.
12, by the time I got pregnant with my son, I was already out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I was already just out there sexually. I was already running away. I was already not listening to nobody. My mama had already told me I was gonna get pregnant before I even got pregnant. My mama told
Okay.
me I was pregnant before a doctor even told me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it was really nothing no one could do, because I'm like, y'all don't care about me anyway. So you definitely not telling me what to do. I get more
Right.
love out here with my friends, and as a child, that's how I viewed it. As
Okay.
I got
So let me ask you
older,
this. So let me ask you this. So let me ask you this. And based on that statement, and you're thinking that way, in a younger age. Now, was the individual older, or do you not know who it was that got you pregnant?
uh, yeah, I do know it wasn't that type of situation.
Okay,
Um,
so was the
we were
individual
basically
much older than you?
he was a year older than me.
Okay, so y'all were both kids.
We were both kids.
Okay, all right. So it's
Mhm.
not like you were molested in that particular situation. It's just that
Correct.
that's how it
That
all
was
evolved because
just
you're hanging with your friend. Okay,
being
gotcha.
being fast and running these
Right.
streets and looking for love in all of the
Hmm.
wrong places. That is such a true statement. Like, you
Okay.
know, in black families, sometimes we mess up. We don't know when our children need help. And at the time that I needed help, and I guess seemingly screaming for help, I wasn't getting it. It wasn't until after I had a baby, after I have a juvenile record now, because I'm breaking the houses and getting locked up, and I'm at school
Hmm.
fighting all the time, because don't even mention my son. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I'm always fighting. Me and my eighth grade principal was pregnant together. I fought my entire pregnancy. I had him 2 months early for fighting,
Hmm.
because I was, of course, I'm 12 years old and I'm walking around here pregnant. So, of course, kids were going to be mean. The adults didn't want me hanging with their daughters, which was understandable. Um, Everyone had already cast me out. Oh, she'll have 5 kids before she's 20. My son was going to be a gangbanger. Just, I had all of these stereotypes on me at such a young age. And man, let me tell you, when I say I fought so hard, not to be anything anyone thought I was gonna be. I worked real hard, and that started as soon as some a family member actually was saying uh, that another family member was telling my mom that she better get ready for a house full of kids, and she's gonna have to raise them because I was gonna be in the streets forever. And that hurt, man, because I'm like, dang, I'm bad, but am I that bad? Like, you just automatically X me out. I'm 13. I still got a whole full life, and at 13, y'all already figured that out for me.
So when did it turn the corner? When did it register to you that this shit got to change? Something's got to give. I'm out here doing God knows what. I'm in the streets real heavy. I'm using drugs. I'm running with the wrong crowd. I've got a baby to take care of, nonetheless. Yes.
Yep.
So when did it register that hey, something's got to change?
So I was in a
And what was that intervention? I would like to know.
all right. So that intervention was a shootout.
Okay.
I was dealing with this guy from New York. He was a fast talker. Um, I mean, he smooth with it. He had me running around Charlotte selling everything, and I'm happy to do it. I'm thinking he's taking care of me. You know what I'm saying? He giving me a place to stay. Kind of to just backpedal a little bit. So the guy that I first initially ran into when I ran away from that group home, I eventually went my separate ways because, of course, a young girl kind of being in a house with a married couple, it of course is going to create some insecurities. And so the wife put me out just straight up, like, I can't have you prancing around my husband no more. And I understood that. So I ended up, I left. I lied and told her I had somewhere to go, which I didn't. And I took every little bit that I had collected over that little month that I was with them, which was a couple of outfits, and like $100 that I had, made doing stuff for him. And I went to a park in Concord, North Carolina. I'll never forget. And I'm laying there, just laying on the bench, and this girl walks up to me, and me and her get to talking, and she's homeless too, but she was older, and she was a prostitute. And she was telling me, she said, well, if I can get us back to Charlotte, I can get us a hotel. I mean, she immediately took me under her wing. And she said, if I get us back to Charlotte, I could get us a hotel. And she was she was like, just hang out with me, I got us. And I did, all the way to like 4 o'clock in the morning. She did her thing. She got us up enough money to catch a cab from Concord to Charlotte. And once we got there, she just told me, she's like, you're young, I don't want you getting in these streets like me. She was like, promise me you'll never do drugs. Like, and she was so serious. Like, she made me look in her eyes and tell her I'll never try drugs. And I made her that promise. And, for about 2 weeks, she was doing her thing, keeping us a roof. We won't eating much, noodles and McDonald's and stuff, but she was keeping us up, and she was just always, spitting game to me. And so, particularly one morning, I'm hearing a banging on the door. It's the front office, and he's like, your girl didn't pay yet. And I'm like, okay, I'm calling her. She's not answering. I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm thinking she done got locked up. And the next day, I found she was dead. Someone killed her. So I'm at this hotel. The person that's taking care of me is dead. I don't know what I'm about to do. I'm like, I gotta go home. And I'm like, if I go home, she gonna send me back. So I'm sitting at the hotel we had. I'm sitting on the steps talking to the neighbors. I didn't got to know for the little few weeks we was there. And this guy from New York, like I said, he walks up to me, introduces himself, and, oh, I've been watching you, and da da da, and you seem like cool people, and immediately master manipulated the heck out of me, man. And I'm thinking, like, I could either go with him, or I could just be out here thugging it, or I can go back to the group home. And in that moment, I chose to go with him. And in going with him, that that opened me up for so much just hell, and just, I'm talking about, I'm getting beat up every day. It's like I'm selling his drugs and ain't getting nothing but a place to stay. And I better hope I get something to eat. And if I got the nerve to say anything, you know what I'm saying? And particularly, I finally got tired of it. It was me and he had another little young guy out there, and we out doing his thing all day. And we get back, and the dude is short, but he's younger than me. I was like, at this time, I'm 16, and little dude is like 13, and he beating them. I'm talking about just punching them, punching them, punching them. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, he's short with my money. And I don't know why in Jesus did I think to say it was me because of the way he was hitting the dude. I just blurted out, it was me. I had got it from him earlier. I was trying to get something to eat. And the look he gave me when I said that, I already knew it was about to go down. So I take off running. I'm talking about running for my life through an apartment complex. I was off of Sugar Creek, and I'm running and I'm running. And one of our neighbors that knew that we used to sell to was like, "Come in the house." So I done ran in these people's house. I'm laying on the side of the bed and I'm praying, and I'm like, "Please, please do not let him find me." And next thing you know, I hear a gun cock. And I open my eyes and he's standing over me. And he's like, I could kill you right now. He's like, it'll be so easy to kill you. And I'm crying. And of course, I'm begging. And I end up leaving with him. He take me to the house. He beats the mess out of me. He left me in the room for 3 days. I'm talking about no food, no water. I couldn't come out to do nothing. Like, you're going to sit in this room until I feel better. So when I finally got up out that room, I had a mindset. If I was going to kill him or I was going to kill myself. And I wasn't about to kill myself. So in my mind, I'm thinking I got to figure out a way to get rid of him so I can get back to my family. I already made up in my mind. If I got to go back to the group home, I'll just go back to the group home because ain't nothing that I'm going through right now in these streets is worse than a freaking group home, you know? But I can't get away.
Well, let me ask you this, fella.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your baby?
My baby is with my mom.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm a, and not to, I really don't want to put a shine on my mom. But when we was living in Winston, I come home from school one day, my mama gone, my baby gone, my brother's gone, the furniture's gone. Only thing there is my clothes. Like, she left me, you feel me, and moved to Charlotte. So
So what's
she
the
had,
distance between Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Charlotte?
how far?
Yeah, what's the distance? Yeah.
About an hour and 15. Not too far.
Okay.
You know, and
Okay.
I'm 14, ain't got no car. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I ended up catching up with her. She ended up letting me come live with her, and I'm mad. Like, I feel like betrayed. You took my baby and you left me somewhere, you know? And so when I got back to Charlotte, I really wasn't feeling her. And we stayed going back and forth about stuff. And we ended up getting into it real bad. I already had some juvie cases from fighting. So when we went to court, she's like, she can't live with me no more. I don't want her no more. And that's how I ended up in a group home.
Okay.
So
So
fast
now, now,
forward,
now, 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 now hold on a second. Hold on a second. Because I love engaging these talk topics like this because number one, you definitely were traumatized. You definitely could claim yourself as a victim of what you experienced, your environment, the whole 9 yards. But you also have to take some responsibility. And whether you were crying out as a child or not, there are different ways that you can cry for help. But you also have to take the responsibility knowing that you out here in the streets doing some fucked up shit, thinking that everybody's just supposed to be, cool with, you know, that you just out there doing shit and they're not being able to discipline you. So, mom ain't trying to hear this shit. And she still got bills to pay, mouths to feed, and everything else. So as a child, and you not actually minding, and actually contributing to the household or the situation. And you talking about, oh, I'm going through all this traumatic shit, and it's a cry for help. But that was a outstanding cry for help when you're in the streets every day. I mean, how could somebody reach you when you're not wanting to be reached?
Right.
No, I don't
Right.
want to be right. I want you to talk to me. I
Um,
want you to talk to me, fella.
because okay. And
But I
that's
don't want you to play. I don't want you to play the victim now. I want you. I want you. You know what I'm
I've
saying? Because you're
never
out
been a
there doing
victim.
your thing.
I
Okay.
have
Okay. Okay.
never been a victim.
That's right. That's right.
And
So
I
talk
don't
to me.
never claim that. Everything that I've
Okay.
been through, every choice I've ever made, I made those choices. No matter the
Okay.
reason for the choices I
Right.
made. I
Right.
made those
Right.
choices.
Gotcha.
Um, I could have when I got pregnant, I could have, got rid of that situation and went full on throttle with my life. My father in prison writing me, telling me people make mistakes. It don't matter. This can't define you.
Right.
You have to just keep pushing. You got to raise your son. He's going to be a king. He's going to be great. God gave him to you for a reason. And I honed on that. Did I
Mm.
have serious issues at home? Yes, I did. Did I
Right.
choose to remove myself from those conditions? Yes, I did. Could I have gone about 1,000 things different? Yes, I could have. And so today, the person that I am is because on that faithful day that I took some stuff went down and I said, let me take my ass home because I'm gonna die out here. Like, cause I ain't built like this. I'm just coming out here. You know what I'm saying? My mom wasn't on drugs. I didn't raise up in, you know, trap houses and stuff. Every trap house I've been in, I walked in it myself. Every, situation I was in, it was because I walked in it myself. It wasn't because I had no choice. You know what I'm saying? So when I got that conscious decision, like, okay, girl, you out here tripping and you really about to die in these streets, and then your son is just gonna be motherless. I called my grandma, and I not my mom because I won't talking to her, but I called my grandma and I told her I want to come home, and she promised that if I come home, excuse me, she wouldn't tell my mom that I was there. Now by this time I'm 17. That's how long I was in the streets. By now I'm 17. I go back. I've already kicked out of school. I was just expelled indefinitely. Like they didn't even want me back in school. That's how terrible it was. Um, so my grandma said, you can go get your GED. It took me 3 months to get my GED. And then I went to college that next fall. And ever since then, I've been on a different mindset. But 13 to 17, that 4 years of running and doing what I wanted to do and living the way I wanted to live and not wanting to listen and wanting to be, I got a kid, so I'm grown now. Cause I got a kid. In my mindset, I ain't no child no more. I'm somebody's mama. So now I can do what I want to do for real. And then so while people was thinking that I was such a bad influence on their daughters, they didn't even know I'm telling their daughters the whole time, like, this ain't even what you want, baby. Stay in school. Don't run behind these dudes. Like even till this day, like my goddaughters, my nieces, my friends' daughters, I'm on them real bad because we're not doing none of that. I could have ended up 20 with 5 kids, like everybody told me, but I had a near death experience that made me realize that I had so much more to live for. I had so
And
much more
so,
potential.
so the near death experience, was that the gun being pointed to your head, or are we talking about something else?
No, we're talking about in the car while it's being shot up and the people in the car shooting outside of the car and watching bodies drop type of shootout. I'm talking about a real
Okay.
experience. That is what
Gotcha.
made
So,
me at 2 o'clock in the morning call my grandma and ask her to please come and get me. Let me come home. I cannot do this
okay.
anymore.
So now you have to really give me some insightful tone of what's going on, because what by the grace of God, if not anything else, pulled you out of that situation and not to be hit by any bullets.
Right.
I'm asking you the question. I mean, did you even think about it that way? I mean, was it something that
Absolutely.
struck you in terms of, hey, man, a higher power has really put their hands on me and covered me to make sure that I pulled myself out of this situation. I was blessed to be out of the situation because I mean, it sounds like you were hell on wheels.
Oh, I was for sure. I was, and I
Okay,
and I will tell it when I see other teenagers going through certain things, and I'm talking to their parents, and I'm telling them, I'm like, let me tell you something, baby. You lucky that this is all you got to worry about. You can handle this. This we can handle.
right.
You know what I'm saying? What I put my mama through, honey. What I put my mama, I can't even believe she made it through, and
Okay.
she did, thankfully. But I look at it like this. However, I learned very valuable lessons at a very young age, and that kind of mapped the rest of my life. What I didn't realize then, which I do now, is everything that I was going through as a kid before I went to the streets, before I ran to the streets, when I was just, in my room crying and dealing with my own stuff I had going on. That right there was teaching me how to raise my son. I tell my son every single day, multiple times a day, how much I love him. I didn't hear that from my mom until I was 25 years old. Was the first time I ever heard my mama tell me she loved me. And it
Okay.
caught me
Well,
off guard.
let me press the brakes right quick. Because just telling you somebody that you love them every day don't mean that they're not going to sit there and experience life and what the streets and life has to bear. So
You know
it's
what
got
my
to be a
son
little.
didn't have
It's
to
got to be a little bit.
experience it? My
Yeah.
son
So I
didn't
mean,
have
just
to experience the streets for himself because
uh huh.
I've always been honest with him. I was
Mm,
definitely one of my son's little friends in a sense. I was still his mother, and there was
right.
still boundaries and there was still rules. But I believed, and me and my son are very close. We are.
Mm,
That's my ride or die, my road dog. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, because I gave everything that I felt like I was missing as a child, everything that I felt like I should have been told, everything I felt like I should have been warned of and aware of. I made sure that he was. My son, I be just so proud of him because I'm like, man, you really could be somewhere hurting me right now. I could really be up all night crying, wondering where you at, in and out of jail, just and I don't go through that with him.
how old is he right now?
He's 23. He'll be 24 in June.
Okay. So
He
he.
graduated from middle college. He graduated
Mm,
with a high school diploma and a diploma. He didn't have to go to college after high school because he already did it. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? My son at a space
Right.
now, and he just trying to figure out what he want to do for the rest of his life. He ain't go papa. He ain't got no kids. Ain't got babies strolled around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a stand up dude, and I take pride in that because I put a lot of sacrifice and I put a lot into trying to change my way. I had to go to counseling. I didn't just all of a sudden get it together. Believe that. When I came off them streets, I had to go get therapy. I
Okay.
had to
So
go see
let's talk
somebody.
about the therapy side of it. Now, what type of therapy? Are we talking about drug counseling? Are we talking about psychotherapy? What type of therapy are we really making reference to? Because mental health is a big thing with me.
Psychotherapy.
Okay.
Yes,
So let's get into it.
I had to face a lot of hard realizations. I used to be a person that, when I was younger, I blamed everything on everybody else. Oh, well,
Mm,
I wouldn't have done this if this person wouldn't have done that. Or I would have never ran away if my mama wouldn't have said this. It was just always a reason for what I was doing. And
okay.
I had to go back, with the first therapist I ever had, I couldn't stand her, so I couldn't open up to her. So I
Hmm.
had to go back and try it again when I got
Hmm.
older, and now I'm scared of the streets. You know what I'm
So
saying? Now
at what age did you start? real clinical therapy? At what age?
13.
You started at 13.
I
When? At
started
what
at
age did you?
13. I was
Okay.
diagnosed with bipolar disorder,
Uh-huh.
going through stuff like that at 13. But like I said, I couldn't stand her. She would,
Okay.
you know,
And
me and
then
her would have a conversation and she'll go back and tell my mom everything I said. And now me and my mom's arguing.
right,
So
because they're trying to figure it out. You sit there and you already told me that you said you were calling out, you were reaching out. Your therapist is trying to help your mother with the call out and the reach out and the help assistance, and now you're mad at the therapist for actually trying to be the catalyst of some type of evolution to your structure and being deposed as, hey, this is what it's going to take to actually get you back on track. But that's neither here nor there. Let's not talk about that. I want to know at this point, at what age did you have the breakthrough?
17.
So at 17, you had a breakthrough mentally and said, okay, give it to me. You had a therapist that actually really reached you at that point at 17.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. Talk to me.
And he was one of the type of therapists where he didn't judge. And I know they're not supposed to judge, but they do. Some do.
Mhm.
But he didn't
Right.
judge. And it was like no matter what I told him, no matter what
Right.
I revealed to him, it didn't shake him. His
Hmm.
expression would never change. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like he
Hmm.
showed me he was really listening to a point where now I ain't trying to scare him away no more. Now I'm really trying to get to the nitty gritty of this because I can't properly move on with my life and plan my future and do anything with it because I'm still holding on to so much hate and anger and trauma. And most of it I caused on my own. It's even worse when you cause most of your own problems because who can you blame, you know? And excuse me. So,
But were you ready to accept that you were the cause of it and you were the blame? Were you ready to look yourself in the mirror?
oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And when I was
Okay.
able to do that and when I was able to say, okay, Shay, you definitely was a wild child, girl. You was out
Hmm.
here. You know, your mama ain't have no other way to handle you. You know, of course
Yeah.
now I ain't there were situations. Now I was not just no unruly for no reason, just bad behavioral child. No, I definitely had situations that led to that attitude, but it doesn't mean that I had to go that way because I had friends that were also going through stuff and they didn't go that way.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there were too many kids at your age that were in the middle of shootouts or having guns put to their head or being locked
You would be
in a room
surprised.
for 3 days. No, no, no. I understand human trafficking and things that people go through, but you saying your friends weren't engaged in X, Y, Z. You kind of perpetuated some of that stuff. And I'm not holding it against you. I'm just trying to get a grasp of the whole story because, like I say, you got a hell of a story now. In every part of it, I can't just leave the audience sitting there trying to figure out, well, how did this happen? That's why I'm asking you so many questions to get to
Right.
the bottom of it, and I'm not being crass. I'm just trying to be on point with, okay, well, how did we get to that point, knowing that we talking about a young lady from the age of 13 to 17. You see what I mean? And then on top of that, you had a kid. You got pregnant at 12 and had the kid at 13. You see, and then all of these other things transpired, and we haven't even gotten to present day. You know what I'm saying? We've been so engaged with that. you know, I'm still trying to get to how we got these books written. You see, because that's the redemption part of it. That's the resilience. That's the hardcore LASHAE speller saying I'm not stopping, and there's nothing that's going to get in my way in terms of my success. You see, so for you to tell your heartfelt story of everything that you've gone through, the
Mhm.
pain, the hurt, the good, the bad, the ugly, and now look on the other side because this is industry talk, right?
Right.
And when I talk with my friends and affiliates, it's just the truth about, hey man, everything in life isn't sweet. everything you go through in life isn't easy, and sometimes you're gonna go through hell, and it's a testament to see if you can get through to the other side. So
Right.
a lot of folks don't really want to admit that, you know, what walks you through that fucking fire? That's what I'm trying to ask you. You see what I mean? I mean, outside of being self-determined, outside of knowing that, hey, man, I've got to fight for something, bigger than myself because I have a child that I have to take care of. There's something internally that had to pull you through. That's what I'm trying to find out. Talk to me about that.
So once I got back, I'm out the streets. I done survived, and I grew up believing in God. Like God was always a big part of my life and still is.
Okay.
And I knew
Okay.
I was blessed, but I didn't know how blessed I was. So I've gotten my GED. I'm back home. I got my GED. I'm doing all right. I'm waiting now. Applying for colleges and trying to get in. And me and my son, we go to walk to the store one day, and he snatches away from me, and I run to get him, and I got hit by a car. I'm talking about smashed and dragged down the road. And when I finally woke up and the realization of everything that happened, I did not, and still to this day, did not see the world the same. Like, okay, if surviving, almost dying when I actually gave birth to my son, I ain't even put that in there. That's my very first near death. Just almost dying trying to bring a kid into this world with an underdeveloped body. I
Yes, ma'am.
survived that. I survived the streets. I survived multiple situations where I could have been dead in that 4 years of running. And then when I finally got myself together, boom, I get smashed by a 57 Chevy. I'm talking about everything broken, everything. It took me 8 months to learn how to walk again. That type of situation. And I said, okay, Shay, if God is not showing you now that you literally have some sort of purpose, and the only thing that I could think of, I'm like, purpose of what? I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't do nothing like that. I'm book smart, I'm talking about smart as hell. And that's what made a lot of people mad because I was so smart. I could do anything. I hadn't got kicked out of school for 3 years, and I was still doing my older cousin's homework. And I hadn't even been in a classroom. Like that type of situation. And I was wasting it, apparently. And I'm like, all right, so the only thing I got is my writing. My writing went from literally at 11 and 12 writing songs about my heart feelings from what other people that did to me, to me writing poems about those hurt feelings and how I felt, to, okay, now I'm gonna start writing short stories, but that became on a more fictional side, but just kind of intertwining with things that I had already seen and already learned and already been through. And as I got older, probably around about 20 years old, I took my first hand at writing a book, which was my very first book, Dirty Filthy Love. And I let my best friend read it, and she was like, "Girl, this is what you're supposed to do right here. Like, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, this is it." And she's been like my biggest, like, she literally on me right now to hurry up and finish this book so she can read it. Like, she's always been on me with that and kind of just showing me, like, I don't have to just write for myself. I can write for other people. And so then when I came out with the cocaine series, and that one was actually published, and so many people took to it, I was like, okay, maybe, you know, I could make it an actual business, because I'm telling you, on my laptop, I have about 30 books unfinished, just things that I've just started from just I don't write to sell books. I write because at the mind I have these thoughts that I just got to get out. You know what I mean? Like I could see something on Facebook and it'll just give me an idea. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's what I'm supposed to do. I can't think of anything else. Like I got my other businesses and stuff, but those are things I do that I enjoy that make my money now. Writing is just, it's real personal for me.
Okay. So I can appreciate that because you appreciate your artistry. You aren't in it for the money. Um, as it relates to perfecting the craft and expressing yourself. So it's about that expression. Um, so look, Speller, I,
Spell.
I can't wrap all this up in one interview. I gotta bring you back, man. Real talk, because we only touched one part of your life up to 17, and we kind of dibbled and dabbled as we were progressing a little bit, but there's
Right.
so much that's wrapped up into that. I want people to know your story. They have to know your story. And then you threw me a curveball and say your ass got hit by a car, 57 Chevy. you you fucked
I
me up with
told
that
you,
one.
Daddy. But my son walked away with not even a single scratch.
Then
So,
that's a blessing. That's a blessing. But it took you 8 months to learn how to walk again, and
mhm.
everything that comes with that. Broken bones, body in disarray. Man, look, it is first off, it is a pleasure to meet you because hey, you got something going on, and I want to know what it is. I don't know if we're gonna talk off camera. I want some of that juju because shit, you got it. And I want everyone to know how to tap into your books. Once again, I want you to tell everyone how to reach you on social media. Let's start there. Your Instagram, Facebook, if you're on YouTube, give me your social media stuff right now.
Absolutely. So, Facebook is LaShae Speller. Instagram is branding_LaShae. Um, I'm more of a Facebook person, but Instagram is there as well. And all of my books, you can find them on Amazon Kindle. I have ebooks, and you can also purchase a hard copy. And then again, do not forget, Damned If I Do is coming soon. It's already
Okay,
done. It's just in the workshop, getting its last touch ups, and we'll be ready to release by the end of the month. By the end of the month.
okay. So, damned if I don't ask this question, because I got to go back.
Hmm.
12 years old, pregnant, 13, baby. So that means that you was a little frisky before 12.
A little frisky, yeah, a little frisky.
Okay, okay. So here's this. I asked that because I need to know the time frame, right? Because a lot of people might think, oh, this isn't possible, but no, you just said it is possible.
Oh, it's very possible. So,
Okay,
um,
all right,
I hate to be TMI, but I started my period at 8.
okay,
By 11, 12, I'm already, fertile. That's
right.
what happens. When
That's right.
I tell everybody when they get their period, put them on birth control. I don't care what kind of child you think you got. If you know your child is in an environment where they can be in situations, put them on birth control. Period. I
Okay.
don't know. I'm just a firm
So
believer.
I'm not gonna let that be your word of advice because I was gonna give you my segue into what I was asking you is at 9, 10, a younger
Hmm.
you, what would be a good word of advice to a younger you? And when I'm saying a younger you, of course, we're talking to the masses, but reflective of what took place and what you actually dealt with in your life. You're speaking
Absolutely.
to a younger you. What would you say as a word of advice?
As a word of advice for that age frame and seeing the signs, because there are signs,
Okay.
don't cast them away. Don't, try to beat it out of them. Don't talk about them. Don't let the family sit and talk about and get them help.
Okay.
Young. I don't care if
Mm,
it's 9 or 10. If you see that your child is having identity crisis, identity disorders, mood swings and crying spells and unruly and just, you know, don't wait until someone else try to help them, because when somebody else try to help them, it's not going to be always good. That was my problem. Somebody else tried to help me. You know what I mean? Um, be there to listen to your children. Do not cast them out of just being bad and, oh, I'm gonna wash my hands and let God deal with them. Stay on them. Push school. You know what I'm saying? For the little girls, they start smelling themselves. Be responsible. And I know you say you didn't want that to be my word for thought, but yeah, just
Okay.
be careful.
So what could you say over your span of life to present day would be your top three influencers? They could be dead or alive. Who influenced you the most? And of course, you said that your dad had a major influence in your life at one point in time. I'm not going to exclude Pops because we know what the situation was, and he's just now recently 2 years in getting out of prison. So,
Right.
who top three influences of LaShae Speller's life? Give it to me.
And I'm gonna be very honest about this. First and foremost is God.
Okay,
And
I
that's
can
just
I
being
can
real.
appreciate that. I can
Um,
appreciate that.
my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandmother never washed her hands with me. When everybody else, when all backs turned on Shay, my grandmother, she held it down
Hmm.
all the way up until the day she left this earth. And my
Okay.
son, because
Understand.
he is what drove me every day.
Hmm.
Like, seriously, even to this day, like, my son is a very big part of my healing journey. You know what I'm saying? The way I move, the decisions I make, everything's always based off of what was best for him. Once I got to a point where I could see that that was all that mattered. 17, 18, by that time, that was all that mattered, was his well-being. So,
Look, I'm telling you, I need to, and what I want to do is I'm going to get in contact with my good friend Miss Jamaica and my partner ECEO with Boss Talk Primetime one. I mean Boss Talk 101, and I need you to sit down with Miss Jamaica and her segment of Love Always Wins. Man, I'm telling you, she can, because she can really sit down and evaluate some things with you from a woman to woman perspective that me from a man talking to you, it just seems brash and harsh, and I'm not, being
oh,
receptive. Now I'm trying to get to the, we're linear. I'm trying to get to the come on, talk to me, but there's so much other stuff that I've left out because I'm just trying to figure out how in the hell did you go through this shit? You know what I'm saying? From such a young age, and how you jumped into it like that. And I'm just happy you still living to be able to tell me these stories of your life. But that's gonna take a I can see why you write so many books. You didn't went through it, Speller. You've gone through it, and I'm going to be the first to tell you that I'm going to go online. I'm going to purchase your books because I want to read these stories. Because now that I know that there are little bits and pieces and caveats of your life, and through our conversation, I'm like, oh, okay, I remember a little bit of that conversation, and we're gonna get into it. We're really gonna get because that's going to give me an opportunity to have more ammunition to really throw at you and talk to you about what's going on with you. Does that make sense?
that makes sense.
Okay. So now I want to know if you would agree here live while we're talking to come back for a couple more episodes as we dissect the life of LaShae Speller. Is that cool with you?
That is cool with me.
Okay,
I
okay,
look
because I
forward
want people to buy
to
I want people to buy these books. You know what I'm
it.
saying? And the crazy thing is your life story. If you put your life story into a book, it becomes a bestseller overnight.
It may become a bestseller, but it also, I can't say it enough. My story isn't just my story to tell, and I have to trust me. I've sat down. I have
Uh-huh.
a good bit of my life story written,
Duplicate other people, so to speak.
huh?
it implicates other people, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So the
Exactly.
timing,
It's no
right?
amount of name changing in the world.
That could wash that away.
And it's some things are better just left unsaid, you know.
I,
So
I feel you, and I'm 100% on board with you on that. Sometimes you just keep your trap shut. Yes, you are 100% correct on that. LaShae, it's been a joy. It's really been a joy, and I
thank
have to
you.
thank my man, my main man Terry Allred for connecting us over there in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina. Big shout out to Terry.
Absolutely.
He's been finding some phenomenal stories of just human interest stories that are just mind blowing, man. His story is mind blowing. If a lot of people don't know about Terry's story. You know what I'm saying? Just being incarcerated for as long as he was, over 6 hours of crack. Come on now, you know what I'm saying? But just like most folks don't realize, he was that guy too now. You know, it ain't like he wasn't out there, you know what I'm saying, running the streets of North Carolina.
Right.
But at the same time, come on. And then to be pardoned by Trump, man, look, Terry got a story. But I appreciate you for being open and honest and being vulnerable enough to express who you are. Because and let the audience know, and this is the first timer for me, because most of the people that I interview, I know them personally, right?
Right.
So this is over a phone call conversation. This is our first meeting
Right.
outside of that. And I appreciate you for opening up and allowing my audience to take a step into your world and into your mind and what you've actually experienced and gone through.
Well, I thank you and your audience for having me. I look forward to, the next time.
Oh,
We can
we definitely running it back. We definitely running it back. We have some more stuff to pull out of that bag you got, man, because you got a serious bag over there. You know. And I'm
yeah.
saying that it's all good. You know, it's a good bag, not a bad bag. Now it's a good bag. You know what I'm saying? So we want to pull all of that stuff out of there, and hopefully, um, it gets into the right places and spaces, and people chime in and go buy that book. Go buy
Go
them
buy that
books.
book. Go buy those
Yes,
books.
that's right. All
Absolutely.
three, and we got another one on the way.
And another.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate you, Speller. And hey, it's been another great episode of Industry Talk here on Primetime Pods. And as always, it's about health, wealth, and wellness. Yes. You've been locked into another great episode of Primetime Pod. Major salute to our guest. And remember, ain't no time like prime time. This is your main man, Big G, with Industry Talk. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to our network, Primetime Pod. And as always, beautiful people, it's about health, wealth, and wellness.
Shit. Prime time vibe. Make sure you check it
Hell, why the fuck you think he missing? He say that.
out.
Yeah, and think of it a whole lot.